Want this further back because it's too low. This should be closer up. Get some light on. I can't tell how any of this looks. Is this a good shot? I can't tell how any of this looks. Is this a good shot? The future me will have to figure that out. I'm of course not wearing any pants, but this is f1.4 on a Sony a6400. Again, I'm talking to the camera. That's probably the wrong thing to do. So I'll pretend to talk slightly to the right of camera. I guess I should talk about my mom. This is a message for my mom. The world's greatest mom ever. I'm unbelievably lucky to have had someone who has worked so hard to give me a life that had to be impossibly tough for her to give me. In many ways, that cannot ever really be given justice in any discussion. She has suffered to camouflage, masquerade, hide, overcome so many obstacles in her life. And she started out obviously well before I knew her, because I wasn't born yet, but with incredible talents, which led her to be the ABT, American Ballet Theater dancer, that she was. When I was 5, my father died, which was tragic beyond all belief and tragic in unimaginable ways to her, more so than us. And somehow she figured a way to give us this great life. And to shelter us from realities that are hard to process. Many people have a lot less luck and love than my brother and I have had. And I try always to be understanding and appreciative of that. And I know that we have caused my mom incredible grief, I'm sure, in my case, over the past 56 years now. Often want the measures of a great parent or person, I think. All the feelings of love and support and guidance and nurturing in incredibly tough times makes me one of the world's proudest sons, happiest sons. As a kid, I remember when we lived on Patricia Lane, we did not have, we only had one television because, after my father died, times were really, really tough for a single mom who had no career to fall back on, because modeling and ABT dancing were not fallback careers. And There was one like probably 15-inch, 60-inch TV in her bedroom uh, cabinetry, and it was black and white. And we she raised us with the disposition where we actually enjoyed and argued for it. It was a black and white TV, and we knew there were color television sets, but for some reason, and maybe she guided this, probably not, but I was always grateful to have a black and white TV because I was certain that color television sets caused you cancer. And I thought I was so lucky to have a black and white television set that would not cause cancer. And it was a TV that had a remote control, and probably the early days of remote controls, but it was a voice activated, a sound based remote control. So it was a clicker, and that's how come I'm not sure if other people call remote controls clickers, and if they do, why they call them clickers. But I can tell you that in our case, this was a remote control that had a clicker. And not only did it have broken clicking buttons where you would have to take the tip of your thumb and push it down in order to get it to click to go channel up or channel down. Remember, there only were 13 channels, which meant only 3 plus PBS, and PBS doesn't count when you're a kid. We all know that. PBS does not count when you're a kid. So we were delighted and lucky to have this clicker, on our black and white single TV in the house. And I think we felt lucky and privileged with that. But then the clicker broke, and we figured out that every time you sneezed, it would turn the channel up to the next channel. So we figured out ways to be delighted and enjoyed that we had a sneezing remote control on our black and white single TV in the house, and we could just go. The sound Mike must love that, and be able to change the channels. I'm not sure exactly what that says and how that proves I'm the world's greatest mom. There is almost nothing but good childhood memories when it comes to my mother. I was definitely, always was, and always will be a mama's boy. The only time I got upset with my mom was when she did not wake me up in the morning. Every morning when she was getting ready to go to work, and she worked on Wall Street and had a ridiculously horrible commute, so she would spend about 45 minutes or whatever putting on her makeup in the morning. And so she would wake me up at, if this was 6 or 6:30 in the morning or whatever it was, and she'd wake me up, and we'd come into her bedroom. It was so important to me that I was in the same room with my mom every morning when she put on her makeup. And I probably, the rare occasion when for one reason or another she didn't wake me up, I think I probably went into a crying fit. Did I mention that I'm a mama's boy? Those mornings were precious to me. I guess since I'm a poet, I can use a metaphor, but my mom has always been magical, and she has put magic in our life in so many times in so many different ways, and that is obviously metaphorical now, but actually quite literally. My grandfather on my mother's side, he brought us to Circle Magic in Manhattan, in Times Square. Somehow my mom saw that connection with us and our grandfather and with these little magic tricks they would get us should be encouraged. And so once a year, she would take us to Tannen's Magic Jubilee in the Catskills at Brown's Hotel, which I think was a classic Jewish resort place. But once a year, it just became a weird convention hall of magicians. The fact that she so saw this little thing and made it such a tradition for us to go to the Catskills every year. And so one of my childhood tragedies was the magic weekend coming to a close. Have a mom who put magic in my life. When I was 13, she got remarried, and we moved to Columbia, Maryland, which was not easy for a kid. We got took away from, our friends and family block, but oddly, that one thing, which I did not agree with, I'm sure, probably right away, turned out to be one of the life-changing things, because I found love with Jen, and who I'm still, will always love, and has inspired 3 or 4 of my better poems. But that one year in Columbia, Maryland, a year I'll never forget, as it says in the poem, she sat us down when she realized that marriage wasn't working for her, and she had a conversation with us, like almost appearing to actually give us sort of a choice and a participation and an involvement in that decision. And she shielded us and involved us in ways that had to be unimaginably tough, but incredibly loving. And then she moved us back to 1 block from where we were before. When I decided I wanted to work in trauma movies and work with monsters, she gave me not things that paid well at all. She gave me infinite, support and encouragement for non-paying jobs, and I think paid the train fare and for a lunch meal when I wasn't getting paid. But jumping forward in a instant jump cut from 22 to 50 something, started this tradition, and I'm not even sure how it got started, of what I call Mondays with Mom, which has evolved into Mondays with Mom and Ira, and has evolved into something that was almost always Tuesdays and almost always Chef Antonio's. But this weekly mama's boy ritual of going out to lunch and actually seeing my mom, and the incredible luck that I have to be here in White Plains, and again, where we live, is not something that could have happened without my mom's support and encouragement. And I would actually, probably in the best phase of this, Mondays with Mom, I would actually, because I didn't have a car, because that's what happens at times, you don't have a car, but I would walk 1.1 miles to my mom every day, and would be like a physically fit way to walk there, and sometimes walk back, but normally get a ride back, so that my 5,000 calorie lunch would only be a 46 100-calorie lunch. And she brought us on cruises. This is doing a Quentin Tarantino backing up on the backup. She did not have money for vacations. And we did not, I think, do many of them. But we went on 2 cruises, and we went to Club Med like 3 times, where I got to see French ping pong girls with boobies who, one in particular, I remember. Actually, I think there were 3, but one who made me appreciate French culture. My mom brought us to theater about once a year. And I know as an adult how theater is something that is not for regular people, because it is not priced in a way that regular people can go to. She felt it important to make sure that despite the fact she didn't have the time, energy, or money, that she got us to understand and appreciate culture and theater. And we love movies. And I'm not sure if I brought that more to her or she brought that more to me. But we went to many movies. Saw Dawn of the Dead and double feature, I think, with some teen sex comedy. I'm not sure exactly what I would say of her judgment in what are child-appropriate things. I'm not sure how much we did or didn't manipulate her or deceive her, or if they were just happy accidents. But I could not be more delighted and thrilled that I got to see Dawn of the Dead in the movie theater with my mom, and Rollerball and Slapshot. And there are stories about that I can't say on video about quizzing my mom after seeing Slapshot about the technique of Paul Newman's team was to have the players go and insult the goalie and say really nasty things about the goalie's wife and stuff like that. And a whole lot of words I had not heard before that I had to ask my mom about. I'm not sure how she answered them. But I had a mom who took me to the movies, and I could ask those questions. March 5th, 2020. We're in a funny time now. It's what I call the invisible zombie apocalypse. And we don't get to see anyone in person or hug anyone in person. Every Mondays with Mom, I would hug and kiss my mom, fully understanding how lucky I was. And it's tough not to hug and kiss my mom every Mondays with Mom. I'm not sure why I'm doing this in the third person about my mom, since this is really only for me and maybe my mom. I love you so much, Mom. You've given me such a fantastic life and so much love, and I am so incredibly appreciative of everything that you've done for us. I have many more self-interviews to do, but since Mother's Day is coming up this weekend, this is the most important one. I love you, Mom.